You know, the world of Pluribus feels so real, it's almost unsettling. But the more you look, the weirder it gets. It's a place just filled with these unanswered questions, and today we're going to dive into some of the biggest ones.
Okay, first up is something you might not have even noticed at first. But once you see it, you just can't unsee it. In a world with billions and billions of people, where are all the dogs? The cats? Where did all the pets go?
And what makes this so strange is how different it is from our world. I mean, here in the US, something like 66% of households have a pet. That's millions upon millions of homes with dogs and cats. For them to just poof, vanish in the world of Pluribus, that's a massive, silent, and kind of creepy change.
So the most common theory, and honestly, it's pretty heartbreaking, is that our furry friends just couldn't deal. I mean, think about it. A dog's loyalty, a cat's affection, it's for a person, an individual. When their owner stopped being a who and just became a piece of the network, that bond was just severed. So they left. They just wandered away.
Okay, so let's move from our animal companions to our human ones. This next part is all about how the most basic parts of being human, love, family, growing up, are completely turned on their head by the hive mind.
Right, so how do relationships even work when you and everyone you know are all part of the same consciousness? What does something like sex or partnership even mean when the whole idea of you and me is replaced with a planetary we?
And this just lays it out perfectly. For us, we look for a partner based on love, a sense of humor, some kind of connection, all that messy, wonderful, emotional stuff. But the hive mind? No, no, no. For them, it is all about pure logic. They would pair people up in the most efficient, scientific way you can imagine, with one goal: produce the healthiest possible offspring. And it could get even weirder and more clinical. The hive mind might see the whole physical act as, inefficient, maybe even unnecessary. It is entirely possible they've moved on to a purely scientific process, kind of like they're breeding prize-winning horses, not two people starting a family.
Well, all this talk about reproduction naturally gets you wondering about the next step. What happens to the children? If you're born into this hive mind, or if you're assimilated as a kid, what is growing up even like?
And this right here is one of the most chilling ideas in the whole show. A child who's part of the hive mind isn't really a child, mentally speaking. They have the collective knowledge of all humanity instantly available. So they are, for all practical purposes, a tiny adult who just can't reach the cookie jar yet. No skinned knees, no learning from your mistakes, just instant, complete knowledge.
All right, we've talked about the mechanics of life, so let's get a little more abstract. If the hive mind is really a single consciousness, what in the world happens when it goes to sleep? What does a planetary mind even dream about?
I mean, our own dreams are already completely bananas, right? Your brain, just one single brain, can cook up a totally nonsensical scenario like this one night. It's just the wild, unpredictable nature of our own subconscious.
Okay, now try to imagine that, but on a global scale. The dreams of the hive mind wouldn't be a single story. They'd be this impossibly complex subconscious soup of billions of people's thoughts, all swirling together. Every fear, every memory, every random desire from every person on Earth, all at once.
And this is where it really just breaks your brain. Because of time zones, the hive mind is never fully asleep, right? It's always partially awake. So, what happens when, say, Asia is having a collective nightmare? Can the conscious parts of the mind over in America feel that terror? It's a wild logistical puzzle.
So, from the nature of life, we now have to turn to the ultimate question: its end. Does the hive mind offer some way to actually cheat death, or is it something else entirely?
So the show gives us this really specific concept of immortality. When a person in the hive mind dies, their consciousness doesn't just disappear. Nope. Their entire life, every thought, every feeling, every memory is perfectly preserved inside the collective.
This line from the show just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? A person can be physically gone, but everything that made them who they were is now a permanent, fully accessible part of the hive mind's library. So here's the billion-dollar question. Is that actually living on, or is it just a perfect recording? This is the central philosophical debate of the whole thing.
And here's the main argument against it being real immortality.
I mean, life is all about growth and change and new experiences, right? A perfect memory, no matter how vivid, is static. It's frozen. It can't learn, it can't evolve. It's more like a flawless digital scan of a person than a person who is actually truly continuing to live.
All right, for our final section, we are zooming out, way out. We've looked at life and death and dreams here on Earth, but what if the story of the hive mind doesn't end at our atmosphere?
Let's start with what we know for a fact, okay? The show's opening makes this 100% clear. The signal that transformed all of humanity came from outer space. It's alien tech, plain and simple, no debate there.
But then we get this line. And the wording here is so subtle, but it is everything. The quote isn't just, "there are no aliens." It's, "there are no aliens on this planet." That little addition leaves the door wide open for them to be somewhere else.
And now remember how the hive mind actually works. One person can communicate with another person on the opposite side of the planet instantly. Physical distance here on Earth is totally irrelevant to them. And that right there leads to this absolutely staggering thought. If the normal laws of physics don't seem to apply to their connection across thousands of miles of rock and ocean, why should they apply across the vacuum of space?
And that's it. That's the ultimate cliffhanger we're left with. What if humanity isn't just a newly unified species on its own? What if it's just the newest branch of a galactic network, already in constant communication with the very beings that created it, and we just don't know it yet? Definitely something to think about.